Hey Capricorn, welcome. I'm so glad you're here because what came through in this reading absolutely needs to be shared with you. Before we dive in, I want you to know this is a general reading for entertainment purposes. I'm interpreting the energy I see in these cards, so take what resonates deeply with you and leave what doesn't. This isn't meant to replace professional advice, but rather to offer perspective on the patterns and lessons the universe has been weaving through your relationship experiences. The question we're exploring today cuts to the core of something I know many of you have been feeling, Capricorn. What lessons does the universe want you to learn through your failed relationships, and when will you truly be ready for authentic love? I shuffled the deck with your sign in mind, asking for clarity on the deeper meaning behind your heartbreaks and the timeline of your readiness for something real. What appeared was honestly profound. These 10 cards tell a story that I think is going to resonate with so many of you on a soul level. What I'm picking up immediately is that nothing in your past was wasted, Capricorn. Every relationship that didn't work out, every person who walked away, every moment you felt like love was failing you, it was all building towards something essential. The universe hasn't been punishing you, it's been preparing you. And from what I'm seeing in these cards, you're much closer to that readiness than you might think. But there are some critical realizations you need to reach first, some old patterns you need to recognize and release, and some deep healing that's been unfolding whether you've been aware of it or not. I want you to approach this reading with an open heart. Some of what comes through might sting a little because we're going to look at some uncomfortable truths. But I promise you, everything here is leading you toward freedom, toward authenticity, and toward the kind of love that doesn't require you to shrink yourself or build walls. Let's see what the cards want to reveal to you. The first card I pulled, and honestly, Capricorn, when this appeared, I felt this immediate sense of mastery and maturity. The King of Cups is staring back at us, and this is significant because it's showing me the emotional ideal you've been unconsciously seeking in relationships. This king sits on his throne surrounded by turbulent waters, but he remains completely composed, holding his cup steady. He's mastered his emotional world. He doesn't suppress his feelings, but he's not controlled by them either. What's really interesting here is that the King of Cups represents emotional intelligence, compassion, and the ability to hold space for deep feelings without drowning in them. When I see this card in the context of your question about lessons from failed relationships, it's telling me that you've been attracting or choosing partners who represented an emotional extreme. Either they were completely emotionally unavailable, shut down, unable to access their feelings in healthy ways, or they were the opposite, emotionally chaotic, unstable, using their emotions to manipulate or control. You, Capricorn, have been searching for this middle path, this balanced emotional maturity, but you kept encountering the extremes instead. The lesson here runs deeper than just recognizing unhealthy patterns in others, though. The universe is showing me that you needed to develop your own King of Cups energy first. You're an earth sign, Capricorn. You're practical, structured, goal-oriented. Emotions have often felt messy to you, unpredictable, something to manage rather than experience fully. Your failed relationships pushed you into emotional territories you would have otherwise avoided. They forced you to feel things you didn't want to feel: rejection, vulnerability, grief, confusion, longing. And as painful as that was, it was developing your emotional range and depth. I'm getting this strong sense that in past relationships, you may have approached love the way you approach everything else in life, with a plan, with goals, with a sense of control. You wanted to build something stable and lasting, which is beautiful, but you were trying to construct emotional security the way you'd construct a building, from the outside in. The King of Cups is teaching you that emotional mastery comes from the inside out. It comes from knowing your own heart so intimately that you can recognize when someone else truly knows theirs. The specific lesson I'm picking up is about emotional availability versus emotional performance. You've encountered people who could perform emotion, who could say the right things, who could create temporary intensity that felt like depth. But the King of Cups reveals that true emotional maturity is quiet, consistent, and doesn't need to prove itself through drama or grand gestures. It shows up in how someone handles conflict, how they process their own pain, how they hold space for your feelings without making it about them. What's happening beneath the surface here is that you're learning to trust your emotional intuition. Capricorn, you're so accustomed to trusting logic, evidence, proven track records. But relationships require you to trust the subtle knowing that comes from your heart. The King of Cups wants you to understand that your emotions are not obstacles to clear thinking. They're another form of intelligence, and you've been developing this intelligence through every failed relationship. Each heartbreak taught you more about what emotional integrity actually looks and feels like. You're becoming your own King of Cups, and that's what will allow you to recognize and receive it in another person. The next card that appeared, and this one gave me chills when I turned it over, is the King of Wands. Now we have two kings appearing back to back, and that's not coincidental, Capricorn. The universe is showing you the complete picture of what you've been learning to embody and what you're calling in. If the King of Cups is emotional mastery, the King of Wands is powerful self-possession, creative fire, and authentic confidence. This king doesn't just sit on his throne, he commands it. He holds his wand with certainty, and there's this sense that he knows exactly who he is and what he's creating in this world. What I'm interpreting from this card is that your failed relationships taught you something crucial about personal power and identity. I'm sensing that in past connections, you may have dimmed your ambition, downplayed your goals, or made yourself smaller to make a partner comfortable. Capricorn, you're naturally driven, you have big visions for your life, and you don't apologize for working hard toward what you want. But I'm picking up that you've encountered partners who felt threatened by this, who needed you to be less, so they could feel like more. The King of Wands is revealing that one of the universe's core lessons for you has been about maintaining your fire while being in relationship. You don't need to choose between love and your personal ambitions. You don't need to sacrifice your goals to prove you're committed to someone. The right partnership doesn't require you to put out your inner flame. It fans it. It celebrates it. It matches it with its own fire. What's really emerging from this card is the understanding that you've been learning to differentiate between confidence and ego, between healthy ambition and the need to control. The King of Wands is confident but not arrogant. He's powerful but not domineering. He inspires others but doesn't need constant validation. Your past relationships may have shown you what happens when someone's ego is masquerading as confidence, when someone's need for control is disguised as strength, or conversely, when someone's insecurity prevents them from stepping into their own power at all. I need you to really hear this, Capricorn. The lesson isn't that you need to find someone who matches your level of drive or ambition in the exact same way. The lesson is that you need to honor your own fire and choose someone who honors theirs. The King of Wands in a healthy relationship doesn't compete, he collaborates. He doesn't diminish his partner's light, he illuminates alongside it. You've been learning that real love doesn't require you to shrink, hide your success, or pretend you want less than you do. You've been discovering your own throne, your own creative power, your own unapologetic presence in the world. From what I'm seeing, this energy is telling me that the relationships that failed weren't failures at all. They were eliminations. They eliminated people who couldn't handle your fire, who couldn't celebrate your wins, who needed you to stay small so they could feel big. And with each elimination, you got clearer about what you will and won't accept. You stopped apologizing for being ambitious. You stopped making yourself less impressive to make someone else comfortable. The King of Wands is you reclaiming your full power and recognizing that the right person will be turned on by your strength, not threatened by it. Now the Ten of Cups appears, and Capricorn, this card hit me right in the heart because it represents everything you've been longing for. This is the card of emotional fulfillment, true happiness, harmonious family and partnership, the kind of love that feels like home. You see this rainbow arching over a couple with their arms raised in joy, children playing nearby, a sense of complete emotional abundance and peace. This is what your soul has been seeking all along. But here's what's fascinating about this card appearing in a reading about lessons from failed relationships. The Ten of Cups is showing me that part of your learning has been understanding what true fulfillment actually looks like versus what you thought it should look like. I'm getting this sense that you may have had a very specific picture in your mind of what a successful relationship needed to include. Maybe it was certain milestones by certain ages, a particular lifestyle, specific achievements, or status markers. And when relationships didn't fit that picture perfectly, you either forced them into the frame or walked away thinking something was fundamentally wrong. The universe is teaching you through this card that emotional fulfillment isn't a checklist you complete. It's not a destination you arrive at after hitting specific markers. The Ten of Cups represents a quality of connection, a feeling of being genuinely seen, accepted, and celebrated. It's about finding someone whose presence in your life makes everything feel more vibrant, more meaningful, more joyful. It's not about what you build together on paper, it's about how you feel when you're building it together. What I'm picking up is that your past relationships may have looked right on the surface. They may have checked boxes, fit into your plan, seemed like logical next steps, but the Ten of Cups is revealing that something essential was missing. The emotional resonance, the genuine joy, the sense of ease and natural flow. You were trying to create the picture of happiness rather than feeling the actual happiness. And the universe kept dismantling those relationships because they were based on should rather than soul. This connects to what we saw with the King of Cups earlier. You're learning that emotional fulfillment requires emotional authenticity. You can't manufacture the rainbow. You can't construct joy through willpower and determination alone. The Ten of Cups appears when there's genuine alignment between two people, when love flows naturally rather than being forced or controlled. Your failed relationships were teaching you to recognize the difference between what looks good and what feels good, between what makes sense logically and what resonates in your heart. There's also this beautiful message here about allowing yourself to want the fairy tale, Capricorn. I'm sensing that you may have become cynical about love, protective, telling yourself that expecting too much leads to disappointment. You've maybe lowered your standards, settled for less, convinced yourself that true happiness was unrealistic or childish. But the Ten of Cups is permission to want it all. It's the universe saying that the kind of love that makes your heart sing, that feels like magic and miracles and coming home all at once, that's not only possible, it's what you're meant to have. The guidance here is to stop settling for partnerships that are just okay, just functional, just checking boxes. The lesson your failed relationships taught you is that okay isn't enough for you, and that's not being demanding or unrealistic. That's honoring the depth of love you're capable of experiencing and offering. You're being prepared for the Ten of Cups, for real fulfillment, and that preparation required you to experience what fulfillment is not. The World card just came through, and Capricorn, this is major. This is the final card of the major arcana, the card of completion, integration, and having come full circle. When I see the world in this position, it's telling me that the lessons you've been learning through your relationship experiences are bringing you to a point of wholeness within yourself. There's a beautiful figure dancing in the center of this card, surrounded by a laurel wreath, holding wands in both hands, with the 4 fixed signs in the corners watching. This is someone who has integrated all aspects of themselves and found their place in the grand design. What I'm interpreting here is profound, Capricorn. The universe is showing me that the ultimate lesson from your failed relationships is about becoming whole independently of partnership. You've been learning that you don't need someone else to complete you. You're not half of something waiting for your other half. You're a complete world unto yourself, and the right relationship will be 2 complete worlds choosing to orbit together, creating something even more expansive. I'm getting this strong sense that in the past, you may have unconsciously looked to relationships to provide what was missing in your own life. Maybe it was emotional warmth if you struggled to access your own feelings. Maybe it was adventure and spontaneity if you felt too rigid in your routines. Maybe it was validation and worth if you didn't fully believe in yourself. And each relationship that ended was actually the universe redirecting you back to yourself, asking you to develop these qualities within rather than seeking them externally. The World card is celebrating how far you've come in this journey. It's acknowledging that through heartbreak and disappointment, through confusion and grief, you've been piecing yourself together in a completely new way. You're not the same person who entered those past relationships. You've shed old identities, released limiting beliefs, healed wounds you didn't even know you carried. You've traveled through your inner landscape and discovered resources and strengths you never knew you possessed. What's really coming through is that the world represents a graduation of sorts. You're completing a major cycle of learning about love, about yourself, about what you truly need versus what you thought you wanted. The failed relationships were your curriculum, and you've been an excellent student, Capricorn. You've done the work, you've faced the lessons, you've integrated the wisdom, and now you're standing at a threshold, complete within yourself, ready for an entirely different level of relationship. This card is also revealing something about timing. The world doesn't rush. It represents the natural completion of cycles, the perfect alignment of elements, the moment when everything has come together as it needed to. What I'm sensing is that you're very close to being truly ready for authentic love, but there's still this final integration happening. You're bringing together everything you've learned, every piece of wisdom gained from past heartbreaks, every insight about yourself and love, and you're creating a new wholeness from all of it. The message I'm getting is to honor where you are right now. You're in this sacred completion phase. Don't rush it. Don't try to skip ahead to the next relationship before this integration is finished. The world is asking you to dance in your own wholeness for a moment, to celebrate how complete you are on your own, to recognize that you've already arrived at something beautiful even before the next love appears. This completion within yourself is what will allow you to attract and recognize a partnership that honors your wholeness rather than trying to fill your gaps. Knight of Pentacles just showed up, and the energy shifted when I pulled this card. After all these powerful completion and mastery energies, we now have this steady, methodical knight who moves slowly but with absolute purpose. The Knight of Pentacles sits on his sturdy horse, holding a single pentacle, gazing at it with complete focus. He's not rushing anywhere. He's not caught up in fantasy or drama. He's building something real, something that will last, one deliberate step at a time. What I'm picking up from this card in relation to your lessons is really important, Capricorn. This knight is showing me that one of the major teachings from your failed relationships has been about patience and the value of slow, steady progress in love. I'm sensing that you've encountered two extremes in your past connections. Either relationships that move too fast, all intensity and passion in the beginning, but no sustainable foundation, burning bright and burning out quickly. Or relationships that felt stagnant, where nothing ever developed or deepened, where you were stuck in the same place for too long. The Knight of Pentacles is revealing that you're learning the middle path, the sustainable pace. Real love, lasting love, the kind that actually goes the distance, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not built on initial fireworks alone, though chemistry matters. It's built through consistent showing up, through small daily choices to be honest and present, through the unglamorous work of really getting to know someone beyond the surface excitement. What's emerging from this card is the understanding that you've been developing discernment about green flags versus red flags when it comes to pacing and commitment. The Knight of Pentacles is reliable, trustworthy, someone whose actions match their words over time. He doesn't make grand promises he can't keep. He doesn't rush you into commitment before a real foundation exists. But he also doesn't waste time in confusion or ambiguity. He knows what he wants, and he moves toward it with steady intention. I'm getting this sense that in past relationships, you may have mistaken intensity for depth, or you settled for breadth without depth. The Knight of Pentacles is teaching you that real intimacy develops slowly. Trust builds over time through consistency. Love that lasts isn't usually love at first sight. It's love that grows deeper with each conversation, each vulnerability shared, each challenge navigated together. The lesson here is about trusting the slow build, about valuing the person who shows up reliably over the person who shows up explosively. This card is also speaking to your own approach to love moving forward, Capricorn. You're learning to be your own Knight of Pentacles in relationships. That means being honest about your intentions from the start. It means not rushing into commitment before you truly know someone, but also not holding back when real potential is there. It means being someone whose words align with actions, who follows through, who builds trust through consistency, rather than trying to prove love through grand gestures. From what I'm seeing, the universe has taught you that sustainable love requires patience, and that patience isn't the same as settling. It's not about waiting forever for someone to get their act together or hoping they'll change. It's about allowing a relationship to develop at its natural pace, giving both people time to reveal who they really are beyond the initial presentation. The Knight of Pentacles doesn't rush, but he also doesn't stop moving forward. He's purposeful, and that's what you're learning to be in love. The practical manifestation of this lesson is that when you meet someone new, you're going to approach it differently than you have before. You're not going to get swept up in potential or project a future onto someone you barely know. You're going to watch how they show up over weeks and months, not just days. You're going to value consistency over intensity, presence over promises, and you're going to trust that if it's real, it will still be there when built slowly. If it requires rushing to feel real, it probably isn't. The Star card appeared, and Capricorn, when I pulled this, I literally felt hope flooding through. After the Knight of Pentacles' practical steadiness, here comes this ethereal, healing energy. The Star shows a naked figure kneeling by water, pouring one pitcher into the pool and one onto the land, with a brilliant 8-pointed star shining above and 7 smaller stars surrounding it. This is the card of hope, healing, renewal, and divine guidance after a period of darkness. What I'm interpreting from the Star is that one of the most profound lessons the universe has been teaching you through failed relationships is about maintaining hope and faith even when love has disappointed you. I'm sensing that you've been through some really dark moments, Capricorn. Times when you wondered if you were broken, if real love was possible for you, if you'd ever find what you're looking for. You may have felt jaded, closed off, convinced that keeping your guard up was safer than staying open. But the Star is revealing that somehow, despite everything, you've maintained a core of hope. Maybe it's flickered at times, maybe you've questioned it, but it hasn't gone out completely. And that hope is sacred, Capricorn. It's what's going to guide you to the love you're meant for. The universe is acknowledging how hard it's been to keep believing when experience seemed to prove that believing was foolish, and it's honoring your resilience. What's really coming through with this card is the healing journey you've been on, whether you've been conscious of it or not. Every failed relationship wounded you in some way, but the Star shows that those wounds have been quietly healing. You've been doing the work, even if it didn't always feel like work. You've been processing, releasing, understanding, growing, and now you're in this phase of renewal where you're rediscovering your ability to be vulnerable again, to be open again, to believe in love again. The figure in the Star is naked, completely exposed and unprotected, yet she's calm and at peace. This is the energy you're moving into, Capricorn. You're learning that vulnerability isn't weakness. Opening your heart again after it's been broken isn't naive, it's courageous. The lesson here is that protecting yourself so thoroughly that no one can hurt you also means no one can love you. Not really. The Star is asking you to trust that you're healed enough now to risk being seen fully again. I'm picking up this beautiful message about divine timing and guidance. The Star appears after the Tower in the tarot, after everything has fallen apart. It's the card that says the worst is over, the storm has passed, and now comes the gentle healing and the rebuilding. Your failed relationships were your Tower moments, the necessary destruction of what wasn't meant for you. And now you're in your Star phase, being guided toward what is meant for you. There's a sense of synchronicity and signs that will lead you to the right person when the timing is aligned. What I need you to understand is that the Star is not about the destination. It's about the journey of healing and hope that prepares you for the destination. You're being renewed right now, Capricorn. You're reconnecting with the most authentic, vulnerable, open parts of yourself that maybe got buried under disappointment and protective walls. You're remembering what it feels like to believe in magic and possibility, even while staying grounded in reality. The guidance from this card is to nurture your hope. When cynicism tries to creep in, when past hurts try to convince you that staying closed is smarter, remember the Star. Trust that you're being guided. Pay attention to the signs and synchronicities. Notice when your intuition lights up around someone or something. The universe is actively working to bring you toward authentic love, and your job is to stay open enough to receive it when it arrives. Hope isn't foolish, Capricorn. It's the light that will lead you home. The Magician just came through, and this is powerful positioning, Capricorn. Here we have the first card of the major arcana appearing after the star, and the message is clear. The Magician stands before his table with all four suits present, one arm pointing to the heavens and one to the earth, the infinity symbol above his head. This is the card of manifestation, of having all the tools you need, of bringing spiritual energy into material reality through focused will and intention. What I'm sensing from the Magician is that you're learning you have far more power in your love life than you've been claiming. One of the crucial lessons from your failed relationships is recognizing where you gave your power away, where you made yourself small or passive, where you waited for someone else to choose you rather than consciously choosing what you wanted. The Magician is telling you that you're a creator, Capricorn. You don't just receive love, you actively call it in through your energy, your beliefs, your choices, and your actions. The energy I'm picking up here is about conscious manifestation versus unconscious attraction. In the past, you may have unconsciously attracted people who reflected your wounds, your fears, your unhealed parts. Not because you wanted to, but because that's what your energy was calling in. The failed relationships served to make you aware of these unconscious patterns. Now, with the Magician, you're learning to consciously direct your energy. You're becoming aware of what you're actually putting out into the world and what that's attracting back to you. This card is showing me all four elements present on the table: wands for fire and passion, cups for emotional depth, swords for mental connection and communication, pentacles for material stability and shared values. The lesson here is about integration and wholeness in what you're calling in. You're no longer willing to accept a relationship that only fulfills one or two elements. You want and deserve all four. You want passion and emotional intimacy and intellectual stimulation and practical compatibility. The Magician is saying you can have it all, but you have to believe you can have it all and hold that vision clearly. What's really emerging is the understanding that you're learning to use your will and intention in love. The Magician doesn't just hope things work out, he actively creates what he wants through focused energy and action. This doesn't mean controlling or forcing. It means being clear about what you desire, aligning your energy with that desire, and then taking inspired action toward it. You're learning to be an active participant in your love life rather than a passive recipient of whatever shows up. I'm getting this message about the power of your thoughts and beliefs. The Magician is deeply connected to the power of the mind. Your failed relationships taught you that if you don't believe you're worthy of real love, you'll keep attracting relationships that confirm that belief. If you believe all the good ones are taken, that's what you'll see. If you believe love requires suffering, you'll create relationships that include suffering. The lesson is that you have to consciously choose what you believe about love and about your own worthiness, because those beliefs are literally creating your reality. The practical manifestation of this is that you're being called to get very clear and specific about what you truly want in a partner and relationship. Not just surface things, but the qualities, the values, the kind of connection you desire. Write it down, visualize it, feel what it would feel like to have it, and then align your own energy with that vision. Become the person who would naturally attract that kind of love. The Magician has all the tools on his table, and so do you, Capricorn. Every lesson from every failed relationship has given you wisdom, strength, clarity, boundaries, self-knowledge. You have everything you need to manifest authentic love. You just have to claim your power and use it consciously. 7 of Wands appeared, and the energy got intense when I turned this over. This card shows a figure standing on higher ground, holding a wand defensively, while 6 other wands come at them from below. They're in a position of having to defend what they've claimed, fighting to maintain their ground. This is not a comfortable card, but it's an incredibly important one for understanding your lessons, Capricorn. What I'm interpreting from the 7 of Wands is that your failed relationships have taught you about standing your ground and defending your standards, even when it would be easier to back down. I'm getting this strong sense that you've been in situations where you had to choose between keeping the peace and keeping your integrity, where speaking up about what you needed would cause conflict, but staying silent would mean betraying yourself. And you've learned, sometimes the hard way, what happens when you don't defend your boundaries. The lesson here is about the cost of compromising yourself to keep someone. The Seven of Wands is showing me that in past relationships, you may have given up important parts of yourself, lowered your standards, accepted treatment that didn't feel right, all to avoid conflict or prevent the relationship from ending. And each time you did that, you lost a little more of yourself. The universe kept putting you in situations where you had to choose between the relationship and your self-respect until you finally learned to choose yourself. What's emerging from this card is the understanding that real love shouldn't require you to constantly defend your worth or fight for basic respect and consideration. The Seven of Wands can represent healthy boundary setting, but it can also represent being in a dynamic where you're always on the defensive, always having to justify your needs, always fighting to be treated well. And that's exhausting, Capricorn. That's not what love is supposed to feel like. I'm picking up that you've learned to recognize the difference between a relationship that challenges you to grow and a relationship that constantly challenges your peace. Growth can be uncomfortable, yes, but it shouldn't feel like battle. The right person might challenge your perspectives, encourage you to stretch beyond your comfort zone, push you to be more vulnerable or authentic. But they won't challenge your basic worth. They won't make you fight for their respect or consistency or honesty. The Seven of Wands is also revealing something about competition and comparison in relationships. I'm sensing you may have been in situations where you felt like you were competing for someone's attention or affection, where there were others in the picture making you feel like you had to prove you were the best choice. The lesson here is that you're not auditioning for a role in someone's life. If they can't see your value clearly, if you have to fight off competition for their attention, they're not your person. The right relationship doesn't feel like a competition you have to win. What I need you to hear is that the failed relationships where you had to constantly defend yourself, explain yourself, justify your feelings and needs, those were teaching you that you deserve ease. You deserve someone who gets you without you having to break yourself down into digestible pieces. You deserve a partner who defends you, who has your back, who doesn't make you feel like you're fighting alone. The guidance from this card is about choosing your battles wisely in love. There are things worth standing your ground over, your values, your boundaries, your non-negotiables. But you shouldn't have to fight for someone to care about you, to be faithful to you, to treat you with basic kindness and respect. If those things require battle, walk away. The Seven of Wands is teaching you to defend your standards fiercely, even if it means being alone for a while longer. Better to stand alone in your truth than to compromise yourself to keep someone who isn't right for you anyway. Two of Wands came through, and after all that intensity from the Seven of Wands, this card feels like a breath of fresh air. The Two of Wands shows a figure standing between two wands, holding a globe in one hand, looking out from a castle balcony at the world before them. This is the card of planning, vision, and contemplating your next move from a position of stability. You've built something, you've achieved something, and now you're deciding where to go from here. What I'm sensing from this card is that you're in this exact energy right now regarding love, Capricorn. You've done so much work on yourself. You've learned your lessons. You've healed and grown and become clearer about what you want. And now you're standing at this decision point, looking at the horizon of possibilities before you, contemplating your next move. The failed relationships are behind you. The wisdom from them is integrated. And now the question is, what do you want to create from here? The Two of Wands is revealing that one of the key lessons has been about taking ownership of your romantic future, rather than leaving it to chance. This isn't about controlling outcomes or forcing things to happen on your timeline. It's about being intentional. It's about deciding what kind of love you want to experience and then actively creating space for it in your life, energy, and schedule. You're learning that you're not powerless in love, waiting to see who the universe sends your way. You're a co-creator with the universe, What's really coming through is this message about expansion and possibility. The figure in the Two of Wands is holding the whole world in their hand. After feeling limited or restricted in past relationships, after feeling like you had to shrink yourself or dim your light, you're realizing that love should feel expansive. It should open up your world, not close it down. It should make you feel like more is possible, not less. The lesson here is that any relationship that makes you feel smaller, limited, like you have to give up your dreams or goals, that's not the right relationship. I'm picking up this energy about planning and strategy, which is very comfortable for you, Capricorn. But the Two of Wands is teaching you to balance planning with openness to possibility. Yes, have standards. Yes, know what you want. Yes, be intentional about where you invest your time and energy, but also stay open to how it might show up. The right person might not fit the exact picture you've created. They might come from an unexpected direction or at an unexpected time. The lesson is about holding your vision loosely enough that the universe can deliver something even better than what you planned. This card is also speaking to partnership and collaboration in a new way. The Two of Wands represents the beginning of a journey you don't have to take alone. You've been solo for a while now, building yourself up, becoming whole on your own. And that's been necessary and important. But this card suggests you're ready to start considering partnership again, not from a place of need, but from a place of choice. You're contemplating sharing your world with someone, inviting them into your plans and vision, co-creating something together. The guidance here is to use this time wisely. You're in a planning phase before the next chapter of your love life unfolds. Get clear on what you want, but also get clear on what you're willing to offer. Prepare yourself practically and energetically for partnership. Clear out old stuff, literal and metaphorical. Make room in your life for someone new. Set your intentions. And then trust that when you're truly ready, when the timing is right, the universe will bring the right person to your balcony, so to speak. You won't have to force it or chase it. It will arrive as naturally as the dawn. The Lover's card appeared as the final card, and Capricorn, this is absolutely perfect. This is the card of choice, union, alignment, and divine partnership. The Lovers shows two figures standing beneath an angel, representing the sacred choice to come together, to merge your paths, to create something holy through relationship. This is about authentic connection based on true compatibility and conscious choice. What I'm interpreting from the Lovers as your final message is incredibly hopeful and affirming. After everything we've explored, all the lessons, all the growth, all the healing, the universe is showing you that true love, the real thing, is absolutely coming. But more than that, it's revealing that you're ready for it in a way you've never been before. The Lovers is the card that appears when you've learned to love yourself so completely that you can truly love another without losing yourself in them. The profound lesson I'm getting from this card is about choice and free will in love. The Lovers isn't about being swept away by passion or falling into relationship unconsciously. It's about standing in your full awareness and power and choosing to open your heart to someone who's also choosing you with equal consciousness and intention. Your failed relationships happened because someone wasn't truly choosing you with their whole heart, or you weren't truly choosing them with yours, even if you wanted to. There was misalignment somewhere. What's emerging is that you now understand what it means to truly choose and be chosen. It's not about intensity or chemistry alone, though those matter. It's not about someone checking boxes or fitting a profile. It's about two whole, healed people recognizing in each other a genuine match, a true partnership potential, and consciously deciding to walk the path together. The Lovers is showing me that this kind of conscious, aligned choice is what you're ready for now and what's coming for you. I'm sensing that when this love arrives, you'll recognize it by how different it feels from everything that came before. There will be ease where there was once struggle, clarity where there was once confusion, reciprocity where there was once imbalance. The right person won't make you wonder where you stand. They won't make you question their feelings or intentions. With the Lovers, there's transparency, honesty, and mutual commitment to the connection. The angel above the figures represents divine blessing and guidance. What I'm picking up is that your next love has a spiritual dimension to it, a sense of meant to be, of souls recognizing each other. Not in a way that bypasses practical compatibility, but in a way that adds depth and meaning to it. You'll feel guided to this person and them to you. There will be synchronicities, signs, a sense that something bigger than both of you is supporting your union. This card is also revealing that the love coming for you will honor both your independence and your connection. The two figures in the Lovers stand separately but together, each whole on their own, but choosing to unite. This is what you've been preparing for through all those failed relationships. You had to become complete within yourself first. You had to learn that you don't need someone to complete you. And now that you know that, now that you're whole, you're ready for a partnership between two complete people who enhance each other's lives rather than complete each other. The timing question you asked, when will you be ready for real love? The Lovers is answering that you're becoming ready right now. The final integration is happening. You're in the last stages of preparation. And what I'm sensing is that it won't be much longer. Not years, Capricorn. The energy feels close, like you're in the final season before this arrives. The universe is telling you to stay open, stay hopeful, trust the process, and know that everything you've been through was preparing you for a love that will honor every lesson learned, every boundary set, every standard raised, every piece of yourself that you've reclaimed. Capricorn, as we come to the end of this reading, I want you to take a deep breath and really let everything we've explored settle into your heart. The cards have shown us such a complete and beautiful story about your journey through love, heartbreak, and the profound transformation that's been happening within you. Every relationship that didn't work out was actually working for you, teaching you essential lessons about emotional mastery, personal power, what true fulfillment looks like, and how to become whole within yourself. You've learned to maintain hope through the star, even when circumstances seemed hopeless. You've claimed your power as the magician to consciously create the love you desire. You've learned to defend your standards with the Seven of Wands and to plan your romantic future intentionally with the Two of Wands. And now, with the Lovers as your final message, the universe is confirming that conscious, aligned, authentic love is not just possible for you, it's on its way to you. The question of when you'll be ready, you're ready now, Capricorn. Or you're in the final stages of readiness. The preparation is nearly complete. You've done the work that needed to be done. You've learned the lessons that needed to be learned. You've healed what needed to heal and released what needed to be released. What's coming for you is a love that reflects all this growth, all this wisdom, all this hard-won self-knowledge and self-love. Stay open, stay hopeful, stay true to yourself and your standards. Don't settle out of loneliness or impatience. Trust that the right person is also preparing for you, also learning their lessons, also becoming who they need to be to meet you where you are. And when the timing aligns, when you're both ready, the universe will bring you together in a way that feels effortless and meant to be. Thank you for allowing me to read for you today. I hope this brought clarity, validation, and encouragement. Remember to like this video if it resonated, subscribe for more readings, and let me know in the comments what landed for you. Sending you so much love, Capricorn. Your person is coming.